Hi, everybody. Good to be with you here on News Center Maine Plus and online. I'm meteorologist Ryan Breton. It's 9 o'clock, and most of the news is fairly good right now as far as where we stand with this storm. It's obviously a nasty night out there, but so far, most of the damage has been on an isolated level. We have had a couple of impressive wind gusts. Bar Harbor leading the pack with 67 miles per hour. That was just last hour. Augusta, 56 miles per hour. That was about a half hour ago. New Harbor with a gust of 50. Bangor, 48. I've got New Harbor on here twice. That should have been Wiscasset. 45 miles per hour gust there. And in Portland, we've got 43 miles per hour as our peak gust so far. As far as the outage numbers, they have crept up a little bit just in the last 15 minutes. CMP about 10,000, Versant about 5,500, and Emic about 79. So this is power outages on an isolated scale at this point. We've got about another 2 hours over southern and mid-coast Maine and another 4 or 5 hours over eastern Maine for the potential wind gusts to cause additional outages. Here is the storm right now. You can see there's a lot of moisture, and this is going to be directed up our way, especially to central and eastern Maine over the next few hours. But this cold front is coming east quickly, and once the cold front comes through, the risk for damaging winds and power outages goes down significantly. So it's really just going to be over the next couple of hours. We've got a lot of rain falling out there. It seems to be steadiest right now in the mountains up around Route 2, but there are some downpours in other spots too. Not as much rain far down east so far, but that will change later tonight as all of this shifts to the east. This temperature map, though, is pretty incredible, and it's a big reason why we are avoiding a lot of the really strong gusts in southern Maine. There's just too much cold air that's hung on from Fryeburg down into northern York County around Sebago Lake and up into the foothills. This is kind of battling the warmth, and the cold kind of acts like a protective layer, and the wind that's screaming a few thousand feet above the ground can't break down through that cold layer. So the only places really where we can get gusts above 40 or 50 miles per hour are going to be in the places that we are in the warm air. We're 61 right now at Kittery, Portsmouth, 56 in Portland. It's only a narrow area here over southern Maine, but it does expand as you head into central and eastern Maine, which is why we have more outages and we've had stronger gusts in this part of the state so far, even though the strongest energy hasn't gotten there quite yet. Current wind gusts 52 miles per hour and a gust of 43 miles per hour in Portland, still gusting above 40 from Bangor to Bar Harbor. And you can see where it is cold. We don't really have much wind at all right now, so there is essentially no risk for outages in the cold areas. But once you get close to the coastline and certainly on the mid-coast into central and eastern Maine, that's where the concerns really are for additional wind gusts. So we'll bring you through this here hour by hour. I think in Portland, most of coastal York County, you've got maybe only another 90 minutes to get a gust that may get up over 50 or 55 miles per hour. So if you've got power now, you're probably in good shape over coastal York and Cumberland counties, but that's not the case for the mid-coast, central and eastern Maine, where you've got another few hours, and we may pop some gusts again above 50 and probably a few more above 60 over down east Maine once we get toward 12 and 1 a.m. And then the wind will shift direction and it won't be as strong late tonight into tomorrow, and the temperatures will start dropping too. So the 50s that we have out there will be long gone by tomorrow morning. High wind warnings, these areas really represent where the power outages have been so far. Down east around Bangor, parts of the mid-coast and central Maine. It does include coastal Cumberland and York counties, but I'd argue our opportunity for anything really bad around these areas is pretty much past, but we'll be on guard for about the next 90 minutes. As for the rainfall, this is moving east again, not too much yet down east, but that will change as this line comes in. There may even be some thunder with it as it passes through between now and about midnight in southern and central Maine, and then midnight to about 3 a.m. over down east. By the time you're up in the morning, it's long gone. The sun will actually be out, and it will be colder. Right now we're up in the 50s to near 60 in southern, central, and eastern Maine near the coast in southern Maine. And by tomorrow morning, we'll have temperatures down in the 30s. So this is not going to last. It's just a short window of time where we've got this warmth. Rainfall totals are creeping up. So far, we're close to 2 inches in Portland, over 2 in Wiscasset, about 2 in Augusta. Not as much down east. As far as additional rainfall, we're looking at the potential for about another ½ an inch over southern Maine, and some places getting an inch or more through central and northern Maine. The good news is, because it was so cold leading into the storm and during most of the day today, most of the snowpack in the mountains remained intact. There wasn't a lot of melting until about now, and there's not going to be more than about a ½ inch of liquid on top of the rainfall that melts into the rivers and streams. So this is a very different setup than last December. I know a lot of people going into this event, we were getting emails and questions about how could it compare? Might we have flooding on that level with another December rainstorm? And the situation was just very different. So flooding tonight is fairly localized. Poor drainage areas in neighborhoods and places that don't have good drainage. And also there could be some ice jams that form on rivers and streams. We've had a lot of ice build up over the last couple of weeks. Basically, you've got chunks of ice that get dislodged and then stuck. The water backs up behind them. You really can't predict those. It's more of just seeing it and being aware and then passing the warning along. So that is a possibility. And I did just notice there is a flood warning that just came out in northern New Hampshire for the Pemigewasset River, which runs around Plymouth. So far, no flood warnings for any rivers and streams here in Maine. But some in our viewing area we are watching, the Kennebec, Skowhegan, and Augusta. Minor flooding's possible tomorrow, but I just checked the gauge and it's actually a little lower than predicted at this point. Same idea for the Swift River at Roxbury, some minor flooding possible. And then the Saco River at Conway may be near flood tomorrow. But so far I haven't seen anything concerning on the rivers and streams that have gauges. Not all of them have gauges, so there could be some localized high water in very vulnerable spots, but we're looking pretty good in that regard as well. Behind this, tomorrow is a cooler day relative to how most of us are now. It is going to be breezy. There could be a flurry or snow shower. Temperatures will be in the 30s tomorrow. Chilly for Friday and Saturday, but nice looking days with sunshine. A little bit more cloud cover on Sunday, and then the next system with some rain, as it looks now, could come in on Tuesday. If you see any damage where you are, the Near Me section of our app is a great area. You can send us your pictures. You can also email weather@newscentermaine.com with any info you have. We'll be back here on News Center Maine Plus and streaming at 10 o'clock. Hope you'll join us on TV and streaming as well for the news at 11. We'll see you then.